Siri at Teachers Siri's channel, and welcome once again. Okay, well, I'm back again and to talk a little bit about some books I finished reading recently. There are two I'm going to talk about, so let's get started. So I have mentioned this big boy before in an earlier video. This might be the second or third time. I finally finished him last week. St. Augustine of Hippo's City of God, the classic work of Christian philosophy, history, ancient history, talking about some of the ancient pagan philosophers, Greek and Roman culture, and also, of course, about the Bible and theology and about Christ. So I finally finished this after a 2-year read, okay? I started out not with this copy, okay? This is 1,000+ pages. I started out not with this copy, but I originally was reading it on Kindle. Kindle has these like these collections of books, like the complete St. Augustine or the complete Yvonne Turgenev or the complete Edgar Allan Poe or whoever. Okay, so I was reading the complete St. Augustine, not the whole thing, but I was focusing on City of God. So it supposedly has all of his complete writings, but sometimes if you read in the comments, some people will say, oh, this is not this author's, all of his or her works. But yeah, I was focusing on this. I started reading it around 2 years ago. I had already read St. Augustine's Confessions about 4 years ago, and I liked it, but I really, really love his City of God. This book is in some ways life-changing, and I learned different things, and it also confirmed certain things about Bible teaching and also about ancient history that I find very fascinating. So what I did was what happened last year is that I got it for my birthday. So when I got it for my birthday, I decided to I wanted to see what this translation was like. So I started, I let go of the Kindle version and I started reading this version. Both translations were good. And I just wanted to have the book, I was just glad to have the book in my hands, okay, just to have the actual book. And so this book was really, really, like I said, in some ways life-changing. And St. Augustine's work is just, it's hard to talk about. You just have to read it for yourself. It's so rich and so many different interesting facts and different things. And, it's just, he talked a lot of things that I was wondering about. He really confirmed it. I would say that if you read City of God, it's a good idea to have at least some pretty good general knowledge of the Bible. So if you haven't read the Bible, if you don't know the basic stories in the Bible, you may have a little bit of trouble with it, okay? But he brings in more than just the Bible. Like I say, he brings in a lot of ancient history from Greece and Rome and the Near East or West Asia, and it's really good. St. Augustine he was born in what was called the Roman province of Numidia, okay, which is now in modern day Algeria in North Africa. He was a pagan. His mother was a Christian. She had converted to Christianity, but he and his father were both pagans. His mother really wanted him to become a Christian, but he didn't at first. He was very interested in rhetoric and philosophy, and he actually went to Rome and studied in Rome. He became a unwed father, at a sort of young age, and he was really into that philosophical type life of the ancient world, the ancient Mediterranean, the ancient East. And then he had an experience where he became a Christian. St. Augustine lived during the 4th century. And so, like I said, City of God is a work of Christian philosophy, but it's so much more. A lot of times we wonder about why is there so many bad things and so much evil in the world? Why is life unfair? Life is very unfair. And St. Augustine, he explains a lot of things. And in my journal, my quotes journal, I wrote down a lot of his quotes, a number of quotes, and I want to read this, okay? It doesn't exactly give the answer about why things are the way they are in life, the unfairness of life, but he does go on to say, I didn't write it in here, but he does go on to say that things happen to, quote, good people. Okay, you know, as Christians, Christianity says no one is good but God. Okay, we all have sinned, but he talks about that, you know, so much that life is a test, and often people that you know, would think, oh, things would be good for them, it goes badly for them because it's a test. So much in life is a test. And, you know, going back to many of the things that he said, like I said, you need to read it. You know, the Bible says something, says about, not says something, but it actually says right now, who is the first will be the last, and the last in the next life will be the first. Okay. So I want to read this quote here talking about, he talks about things, why does things, bad things happen to people that are decent people, and the people that are wicked or bad things, they sometimes seem to just prosper in this life. Okay. For we do not know why, what decision of God, this good man is poor, while that wicked man is rich. Why this man is cheerful, though in our opinion his desperate moral character makes him deserve the tortures of grief, while that man whose exemplary life convinces us, and I'm reading in cursive too, convinces us that he deserves it to be cheerful, is full of sorrow. Why an innocent man leaves the court not merely unavenged, but actually condemned, either overcome by the injustice of the judge or overwhelmed by false evidence, while in contrast his criminal adversary gloats over him as he goes away not only unpunished, but even vindicated. Why the impious man is hale and hearty, while the devout man pines away in weakness. Why young men practice highway robbery and enjoy excellent health, while infants who could not hurt anyone, even by word, are afflicted by all manner of cruel diseases. A useful member of society is snatched off by an untimely death, while one who, as it seems to us, ought never to have been born, lives on long beyond the normal span. One whose record is full of crimes is exalted to high position, while another who is beyond reproach is hidden in the shadows of obscurity. Who could list or enumerate all the other examples of this kind? Okay, so I was just, you know, when you look at the condition of the world today, and if you know history, okay, I'm a big history buff. This really, it makes you think, okay? But he does explain in City of God why things are the way that they are in this life, okay? And he talks about all the different remedies and everything to this life, which is often, is one saying, life is filled with misery, okay? So City of God, I loved it. It made a big mark on my life. And I would say when you start out reading it, for me at least, it was sort of slow going, a little difficult, but then it picked up momentum and it got easier as it went on. But near the end, it seemed like it got really tedious, and I don't know whether it was Saint. It's not an easy read, but I don't know if it was Saint Augustine's writing or whether it was just I was sort of ready to get through with. I love this book to death, but I was ready to get finished with it. I finished it last week, and I just felt like it was such an achievement. So, but yeah, but a must read. If you love the classics, if you love Christian philosophy, if you just read it. I mean, I don't even say that you have to be a Christian, okay? But I would say that it would be good to sort of know the basic Bible stories and what the Bible is about before you read it, because some parts of it you might not understand. And then, like I say, he has a lot of obscure ancient history, but it's absolutely fascinating. The second book that I finished reading recently was George S. Schuyler's Black Empire. And Black Empire is different from anything I've ever read, okay? George S. Schuyler was an African-American writer. And he wrote what was called, this book is Afrofuturism, okay? And basically the story centers around the narrator, Charles Slater, who is a journalist. Schuyler himself was a journalist. at one point, okay? And his book here was actually first published as a serial in an African-American newspaper, okay? So, but the narrator of the story is Charles Slater, and he meets the mysterious, the charismatic, the very handsome, but also very ruthless Dr. Belcetus. And Dr. Belcetus is a prominent doctor in New York. All of his clients are wealthy people, wealthy white people, mostly white women. Well, I say all white women. His clients are all white women. He has some romantic dalliances with some of them, but he does not like white people, okay? Because Dr. Belcetus has a master plan, and he recruits Charles Slater unwillingly into his plan, but Charles eventually adapts to it, and he becomes all a part of the big plan, okay? And the master plan is Dr. Belcetus wants black people the world over to be free. He wants them to be free from racism, white supremacy. And so he comes up with a plan to defeat the white power structure globally, okay? And start up a homeland for all people, all black people to live from around the world, throughout the diaspora, wherever they are, to live in West Africa. And so this is a wild ride, but so interesting and so different from anything I've ever read. Okay, yeah, it's fantasy, Afrofuturism, and if you like this kind of thing, it's something really different to read. This is a must read. It really is something else. I really enjoyed it. I gave it I think I gave it 4 stars. I might have given it 5. St. Augustine, I definitely gave it 5 stars on Goodreads. But yeah, this is very different from anything that I've ever read before. I'm not big on fantasy or sci-fi, but I will read fantasy, sci-fi, and dystopia, okay? For something different, a little bit different, okay? I'm open to reading something different if it's good quality, and this is good quality.